In exercise 2, we are confronted with an actual tax bracket from the US in the year 2018, and we consider two different married couples in the sense that they differ not in the total income that they earn, but they differ in the composition of the income that they're earning. And what we are going to calculate is, first of all, what is the tax liability of those individuals or the households, considering the tax rate from 2018 in the US, so the income tax rates. And then what we will compare is how much does do each of the couples benefit from being married rather than being single, also using the 2018 tax bracket. So what do we have? So we have two couples. So first we have Ed and Wendy. They are married and they do not have children. Each of them is earning $75,000 per year, and therefore the combined household gross income is then 150,000. Then we have a second couple, John and Kristen. They also have $150,000 in combined household income, but they also have no children. And the difference to the other couple is that Kristen is earning all of the income and John is not working. Yeah, so this is the main difference between the two couples. Everything else is basically the same. So for answering this question, I put a link here where you can find the tax brackets from 2018, which you will be needing to answer this question. And I also screenshotted it and will use it here in the solution that I'm showing you in this video. So in sub-exercise A, we're asked to use the 2018 tax rates for married couples filing jointly to compute how much income or tax income each couple is owing to the government. And we assume that both are taking the standard deduction. So I summarized some of the information here already. So we have Ed and Wendy. Ed is earning 75,000, Wendy is earning 75,000. So we have a total household income of 150,000. Then they have no children. For John and Kristen, what we have is that John is earning $0, Kristen is earning $150,000. Therefore, the total household income, the gross income, will also be $150,000. And here we also will have the situation where they do not have any children. Now, here I screenshotted the tax brackets for the relevant year, so for the year of 2018. And here I just crossed out what we won't be needing. So we won't be needing the things which I crossed out here. So the first column that you can see, so this column here, this is referring to unmarried individuals, so singles, and this here is referring to married couples which are jointly filling in the tax schedule. So this will be important for calculating the tax liability. And in addition, what we have is a table for the standard deduction and personal exemption. And this will determine how much we subtract from the gross income in order to end up with the taxable income. Yeah, and this differs whether you are single or you are a married couple filling jointly. And basically in sub-exercise B, we will simply apply this tax schedule on the total income or total taxable income of the couples. So the standard deduction for married couples filling jointly is $24,000. Okay, so this is what we need to subtract from the total income to end up with the taxable income. So then the taxable income is simply the total income, so $150,000 minus $24,000, which we end up with the taxable income of $126,000, and this will be this will be the amount on which we apply the tax schedule. And keep in mind that for this sub-exercise, there is no difference between the two couples in that the analysis only depends on the total income and not on how the income is composed. Yeah, so the tax liability for married couples will not depend on how much each of the individuals is contributing to the total household income, at least for the year 2018. So then let us start by calculating the tax liability. So the first, using this tax schedule, the first $19,000, so $19,050, will have a tax rate of 10%. Then we will have between 19,051 and $77,400, we will have a tax rate of 12%. And then above 77,401, including this, so including $77,401, we have an income or a tax rate of 22%. Therefore, total tax liability is given by the following. So we have 0.1 times 19,000. So let me rewrite this such that you can distinguish between the dots and when I'm taking multiplication. So I'll put a comma now in between the numbers. So it's 0.1 times $19,500 plus 0.112 times everything which is between $77,400 and $19,051. So simply 77,400 minus 19,051. Okay, and then for everything which is above $77,400 and up until the total taxable income, which is $126,000, so the remaining top part of the taxable income. On this, we apply 22% tax rate, so we have 0.022 times 126,000 minus 77,400. And if you calculate this, this is equal to 19,599. So both couples have a tax liability, a total tax liability of 19,599, and this does not depend on the composition of the total income. Yeah, so whether both are actually working or only one of them is working. Now in sub exercise B, what we are asked is the following. Let me just go back. So does either couple pay a marriage tax? Yeah. So, or does either couple receive a marriage benefit? So, did it pay off from a from a total tax liability point of view? So, how much tax do you owe to the government? Did it pay off for either of the couples to get married rather than simply staying single, or at least living together but being regarded as single with respect to the tax schedule? So that's the question, and now we will calculate this by simply calculating the incomes or the tax liabilities that each of them would pay if they were single. So now let's start with Ed and Wendy. Ed and Wendy. So they each earn $75,000, and the taxable income is then $75,000 minus the exemption that we have for single fillers, and this is $12,000. So for each of them, it would be $75,000 minus the $12,000. So we would end up with a taxable income of $63,000. And now we simply apply the tax schedule on, so the tax schedule for single fillers on the taxable income of $63,000. And by doing this, what we end up with is the following. So the tax liability is then the following. So for the first $9,525, they pay 10%. So it's 0.1 times 9,525 for 9,525 up until 38,700. They pay 12%. So it's 0.12 times. Let me just check whether this is correct. 1 second. Yes, this is correct. So 0.12 times 38,700 minus 9,525. So this is everything which is in between those two boundaries. Then finally we have for the remaining income, which is then $63,000 minus $38,700, we have a tax rate of 22%. So this is 0.22 times the total or the taxable income, 63,000 minus 38,700, because this is what's remaining. And if you calculate all of this, this is 9,000. It should be 9,799 and 50 cents, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, I think should be a 50 at the end, or no? Yeah, let's just have it like this. It's okay. At least in my solution it says 50 at the end. And since we have two people earning this amount or having this tax liability, the total tax liability is 2 times 9,799.50, and this is equal to 19,599. Okay, and this is basically the total tax liability for Ed and Wendy. And if you compare this with the total tax liability that they had when we considered them as being a married couple, what we had is, let me just check, it was also 19,599. Therefore, Ed and Wendy, so when both of them are earning the same amount of income, for them there is no benefit to get married, at least from a taxational point of view. So they don't have any benefit in getting married, and they also do not have any kind of marriage tax which they need to pay. So they do not have a disbenefit of getting married. But now let's have a look on John and Kristen. John and Kristen, because here the composition differs, as I said before, and actually this will have an impact. So Kristen, so for John, since he's earning an income of 0, his taxable income is 0, and hence also his tax liability is 0. And for Kristen, what we have is that the following. So Kristen, taxable income, so the taxable income would be her total gross income, which was 150,000, minus 12,000, which is equal to $138,000. So this is her taxable income. And then what we do is we apply the tax schedule for single fillers again on this total taxable income, and then we calculate the tax liability. Okay, so what do we have then? So for the the tax liability would then be the following. So for the first $9,525, you pay 10%. So 0,1 times 9,525 plus 0.12. So this is then 12% on the next available income, going up to $38,700. So this is then times 38,700 minus 9,525. Then all the way up to the next boundary, which is $82,500, we pay a tax rate of 22%. So then we have plus 0,22 times 82,500 minus 38,700. And finally, for the remaining income up to $138,000, starting from $82,500, we have a tax rate of 24%. So this is 0,24 times 138,000 minus 82,500. And now if you calculate this, this is equal to 27,409 and 50. And $50. So if you then, so this is the total tax liability for John and Kristen if both would, be single and pay taxes according to the single fillers and tax schedule. And if you compare this amount actually with what they would need to pay if they would have been married and fill as jointly fill as married, then you see that they almost saved $10,000 of taxes by being married. Yep. So John and Kristen, because of the composition of the total income, in that Kristen is actually bringing in everything to the table, so she's earning the whole income. And for them, there is a huge benefit of getting married, and they save $10,000, like roughly. Okay, it's less. I think it's about, how much is it? $8,000. So they save roughly $8,000 of taxes when they are married. And you see that this is the kind of you can get the most benefit of this of getting married when the difference between the two incomes of the couple are highest. And this answers the question. So we have one more exercise number 3, where we have the following situation. So the government of Utopia plans to offer a transportation tax credit in which families receive a share of their expenditures on transportation to and from work or school as a reduction in their tax bill. So if you're familiar with this in Germany, this is related to the Pendlerpauschale. Yeah, so this is an example for Pendlerpauschale. So Utopia is considering two forms of this tax credit. One that is fully refundable, and one in which the tax credit is limited to the amount of taxes the family pays. Which form of the tax credit is more progressive? Explain. So the two kind of forms of the tax credit are one where you can get, independent of how many taxes you paid, you can get kind of an exemption. This is equal to the amount of expenditures that you had on transportation to and from work or school, independent of how much taxes you actually paid. Yeah, so it's not restricted. There is no upper boundary. You can fully kind of refund this expenditures independent of how many income taxes you paid. And the question is, considering, so the other system would be a restriction to the total amount of tax that you paid. So now the question is, which form of those two tax credits is more progressive? Yeah, so this is kind of the idea. Then let's go to the last page. So the answer is that it's more progressive. So more progressive to allow for refundable tax credit. Refundable tax credit, then to limit the credit to taxes actually paid. And the idea is that, so why is it more progressive? So there might be families which are not paying any income tax because they're very poor, or they're getting social transfers from the government, and they still, for instance, have to go to work and go to buy groceries and so on, and they do not get kind of a refund, or they get less refund on the tax credit if it would be limited by the amount of tax that they're paying. Therefore, for those families, it would be a benefit if there wouldn't be such a limit, and they could fully kind of refund their taxes, and it's not limited to the tax that they pay. Okay, so the idea is, so family with low income do not pay income taxes, therefore benefit of a limited tax credit is very low. Okay, so the idea is that this tax credit will only benefit individuals who have high income, yeah, because they pay high income taxes, and the fraction of income taxes relative to what you pay, like other types of taxes that you pay, is substantially high. Therefore, yeah, an issue would be that if you would only allow this to be limited to the amount of taxes that you paid, poor families could not benefit from this refund compared to families who have a high income. But it wouldn't be, um, so it wouldn't be like in a situation where so the families with low income, it wouldn't be like as if they do not benefit at all, but they still have a benefit even if it would be limited, because they still pay taxes if they go buy groceries. Okay, but just to have a full answer, but even in the limited tax credit, poor families would have some benefit, even though it's low, but since they pay taxes, for instance, when buying goods. Okay, so when they would, for instance, buy goods, then they get a benefit in the limited tax credit. But as I said before, since they're not paying any income taxes, if you would limit it to the total amount, the benefit that you would get is much lower than compared to a situation where they would have a fully refundable tax credit. And if you compare this with people with high income, they benefit in addition, like to what they're buying actually. So when they're buying goods, they benefit in addition due to the high income that they have and the high income tax that they pay. So basically, this would be, so the limiting case would be yeah, less progressive because it would benefit people with high income much more than individuals with low income. And this was the last exercise for this problem set. And we will see us, we will see us next week. So yeah, if you have any questions, please write me an email. And if you find any issues or mistakes, please also let me know. See you next week.